Nick Ashew here with the DMV.
Has concluded.
The DMVSTREAM.COM player.
Sean Parker along with Nick Iverson.
I always wanted to play volleyball in college.
Cordova trying to dig it out of the board. And they score!
Good evening, everybody. You are in the Prep Zone. I'm Sean Parker, along with Adam Ayalu from Vantage Hoops, Tyler Byram from DMVSTREAM.COM. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us. Yeah, thanks for having us.
We as always, we have an action-packed show. Well, action, I guess because we're talking, it's action. So yeah, we have a lot going on today. We're going to take a look at what we've got coming up. We've got recaps of the WCAC Boys and Girls Championships, the Virginia Conference 5 Championship, and the IAC Championship. And we've got a couple of good previews coming up, including a preview for the DCSAA tournament and the Virginia Northern Region Boys. And our own Jackie Sager sat down with Yorktown swimmer Suzanne Dolan, she is looking to compete in the state tournament. So we've got an action-packed show, like I said before. Take a look on the screen. That is where you can watch the Prep Zone, of course, on DMVSTREAM.COM on demand and Fairfax Channel 10. So we are going to step away for a break. When we come back, we are going to have the weekend rewind. But first, we're going to take a look at the upcoming DMVSTREAM.COM Nova Challenge at Marshall High School on April 10th.
It's the DMVSTREAM.COM Nova Challenge, the third annual installment of Northern Virginia's premier all-star basketball showcase event is expanding. This year's April 10th event will welcome the top seniors from Fairfax, Loudoun, Arlington, Prince William, and the city of Alexandria for an action-packed day. In addition to the two all-star games, the area's best public school basketball players will compete in a dunk contest and a three-point contest. Underclassmen will also have access to a developmental clinic hosted by our friends at Evolution Basketball. Now, not only has this year's event grown from one game to two, but by becoming the title sponsor of this event, DMVSTREAM.COM will be providing you, the viewers and fans, the exceptional, state-of-the-art coverage you've come to expect from us. As the Mid-Atlantic's #1 source for live sports broadcasting, well, DMVSTREAM.COM, we're going to broadcast this year's event live to computers, tablets, mobile devices, and we'll also make the replays available on demand on the internet, as well as our relationships with local cable television access channels. DMVSTREAM.COM produces live broadcasts for professional, semi-pro, and amateur sporting events, as well as colleges, universities, high schools, AAU, and youth tournament organizations throughout the Mid-Atlantic. With a client list that includes ESPN, The Washington Post, Monumental Sports Network, CBSSports.com, USAFootball.com, USLacrosse.org, NCAA.com, the National Federation of High School Sports, Georgetown University, among others, Synthesis Multimedia Productions and DMVSTREAM.COM has emerged as the Mid-Atlantic's top provider of multimedia. Now, the DMVSTREAM.COM Nova Challenge, featuring Nova's premier basketball players on April 10th. You can find out more about that at DMVSTREAM.COM and NovaChallenge.com. We'll see you there.
And welcome back to the Prep Zone. Sean Parker, Adam Ayalu from Vantage Hoops, Tyler Byram from DMVSTREAM.COM. We are going to jump right into the weekend rewind. And we've got a couple of great games, actually 4 games that we are highlighting. The first game is going to be St. John's and DeMatha. Tyler, pretty good game. St. John's pulling it out.
Yep, St. John's won their first WCAC title since 2000. It was a game that a lot of people didn't know if St. John's was going to perform in the championship game. St. John's, however, they came out hot. They shot the lights out in the gym. They shot 51.1% for the entire game, and it was basically the Anthony Cowan Jr. show. 21 points, 7 assists. I believe there was a point in the game where he was responsible for about 5 baskets in a row for the Cadets, and he did great. Kylea Sykes, he had 17 points as well, shot 8 from 12 from the field. Right after the game is actually pretty funny. He got an offer from UNC Greensboro immediately after the result, and it was a fun game to be a part of. The crowd was into it. I mean, of course, it's WCAC, everyone was there. But St. John's, they performed really well, and they were tested by a good DeMatha team that gave them a run late.
Big game on a college campus, of course, the in the Bender Arena, the campus of American University. Anthony Cowan Jr., the top performer in the game.
Yeah, he's a Maryland commit, and you can see why. There's a lot. He is very athletic, very quick. He knows what to do with the ball. He knows when he needs to shoot. He knows when to dump it off. And he was the difference in the game. I mean, he was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, you see 21 points, 7 for 7 from the line. He got the job done for St. John's in a huge way.
All right, St. John's with the 71-57 win over DeMatha. We're now going to move into our next game report, Episcopal and St. Stephen's St. Agnes. Adam.
Yeah, Episcopal and St. Stephen's St. Agnes met in the IAC championship. These teams are rivals, and they actually shared the IAC championship last year. Episcopal claimed the regular season title this year outright, and they actually claimed the back-to-back IAC championship title with the final score of 56-55. It was a tale of two quarters in the first half. Episcopal opened up a 17-9 lead at the end of the first, and St. Stephen's St. Agnes turned the tables in the second quarter. They outscored the Maroon 12-7, but Episcopal held a 24-21 lead heading into halftime, and then it was kind of nip and tuck the rest of the way. St. Stephen's St. Agnes was led by Donovan Totley and Denmark Slay, the junior and sophomore guards, who each scored 20 points apiece. They hit a series of touch shots down the stretch to keep their team in the game. Nick Reed, the senior for Episcopal, actually fouled out with 3 minutes to go. He scored 42 in the triple overtime game against Georgetown Prep the game before. So George Mwanda Kalema actually had to step up, and he did in a big way. He scored the last 13 points of the game for the Maroon, and he finished with 24. He followed up a 30-point performance in the previous game against Georgetown Prep, in which he didn't come out of the game at all. He's actually a tireless kid. If you ask Coach Jim Fitzpatrick, he'll tell you he's the hardest working kid that he's ever coached at Episcopal. He'll tell you that all he needs is a ball and a rim. So his hard work's starting to pay off, and in a big way.
I'll tell you, coaches absolutely love players like that. Episcopal, like you said, second straight IAC tournament championship, 22-4 on the season. We're going to step away, pay a couple of bills, but when we come back, we are going to have girls highlights, Paul VI and St. John's. But first, we're going to take a look at some behind the scenes of a recent WCAC basketball championship telecast. Take a look.
Two longtime rivals collide tonight here at American University as the top-seeded St. John's Cadets face the second-seeded DeMatha Stags in the WCAC Championship. Hello, basketball fans. I'm Jeremy Huber, joined by the big man, Junior Burrow, the former UVA star. And Junior, you gotta love it. Tonight we've got one heck of a matchup. You look down the list, not a lot separates these teams. Try to give the foul. Referees don't call it. And fittingly, Cowan's going to dribble it out. And you see him come on the court as St. John's is your 2016 WCAC champions. And they get the win as Anthony Cowan goes off by himself. He deserves it, gets the game ball. He wanted nothing to do with that scrum. He just has to be out there holding that ball.
Hey, easy out there. Goodness gracious.
Sean Parker back here in the Prep Zone, Adam Ayalu and Tyler Byram. And Tyler, PVI, Paul VI and St. John's, WCAC girls, maybe we should start playing the theme to Dynasty, PVI. Third straight championship?
Yep, third straight championship for them. They were tested, though, against the St. John's team. It was a game full of runs. Paul VI, they've done all season. They look to pull away very early, very often. However, every single time that they would get around 8 and 9 point leads, St. John's would come right back, get it down to 2. Sometimes they would tie it. It was a very close game, closer than the score may indicate. But PVI, they did absolutely phenomenal. They're starters. All 5 starters reached double figures for them, including seniors Jasmine Whitney, Raven James, 15 and 14 points respectively. One thing that I noticed for them, though, is they are a very efficient team. They made 18 field goals. 11 of those 18 they had an assist on. So they did quite well. St. John's, unfortunately for them, it came down to free throw shooting. They were 15 for 27 in the game. On the other side, Paul VI, they were 28 of 35. That's a huge difference. Very close in fouls, very close in rebounding, which is something that kind of surprised me going out. I thought I would favor PVI, especially with their length and just how they're able to command the interior post. But St. John's as a whole, I mean, Kayla Robbins, she had a great game. But Ashley Owuzu, the freshman for PVI, one of the best freshmen in the entire country that a lot of people are saying, she had a big game for them tonight.
I tell you, free throws will get you every time. A lot of coaches, they want their players to practice on free throws, and free throws can win you championships. They can lose you championships. But hats off to Paul VI with their 70-61 victory. Next up, we go to Virginia, Chantilly and Westfield. Adam, Chantilly with the 15-point win.
Actually, Westfield took the Conference 5 championship with a final of 76-61. They repeated as conference champions behind
It's flipped on my
Tyler Scanlon,
on my paper.
the senior forward, who led them with 32 points. This game featured a lot of Conference 5 award nominee winners, including the Player of the Year Tyler Scanlon, Coach of the Year Doug Buell, and First Team Blake Francis. Chantilly's Zach Crenshaw, who was also First Team All-Conference, finished with 23 points. But they couldn't stop the Bulldogs, who jumped out to an early 27-12 advantage. And Blake Francis and Tyler Scanlon, who signed with Boston University, combined to score 25 of the Bulldogs' 27 points in the first quarter. They led 47-33 at halftime, and Chantilly made a little run in the third quarter to cut the deficit to 10 before Scanlon and Francis closed the quarter with 7 straight points. Again, Tyler Scanlon was the top performer, but Corey Jones and Joe Ketchmark also played well. Hank Johnson, who's been killing it on the glass lately, had 7 rebounds, which were very important, and he added 10 points. And Joe Ketchmark, again, like I said, he did a good job stretching the floor. And like Coach Doug Buell said, if they want to, advance further in the states and beyond that, and finish their unfinished business from last year, that the supporting cast is going to have to step up in a big way, and they've been doing that so far. Corey Jones, Hank Johnson, Joe Ketchmark, they've all been doing well, and they're going to have to continue in order to be successful.
Well, yeah, you mentioned Hank Johnson. He's got 12.3 points per game behind Francis's 20.8, behind Scanlon's 23.4. So it was Westfield. I apologize to all the Westfield people for giving away your win. 76-61 over Chantilly. Great victory for them. We're going to take a little break. We're going to come back with the allmetsports.com weekly fast forward. But before we do, we're going to take a look at a sit down that Jackie Sager had with Yorktown swimmer Suzanne Dolan. And Suzanne is trying to compete in the state tournament.
Hello everyone, I'm Jackie Sagar and I'm here with Yorktown High School swimming star Suzanne Dolan. Welcome, Suzanne. So I know in the most recent regional swimming meet that you defended your title in the 50-meter free. I think you got first place. I think you even improved on your time from last year. Tell me what was going through your head during that race.
Every single time that I get in the water for the 50, it's just an all-out sprint. You put everything out in the water that you can. You can't hold back, and if you make a single mistake, you automatically gain time because it's such a short race that every single part of it matters, and you have to focus on that. And practice really does make perfect, because you can't really think much during that race. You just have to put everything that you've worked on in practice and hope that it turns out okay in the race. And
I know you made huge improvements on your times from sophomore year to junior year. I think you got 8th in the 50-meter freestyle in states your sophomore year, and then last year you got 1st in the 50-meter free as well as the 100-meter breaststroke, right? What happened in that year that you improved so much as a swimmer?
so actually it started happening my freshman year. I actually broke my wrist and got, I just wasn't excited to go to practice anymore. I was practicing probably like twice a week compared to the year before when I was practicing at least 6. And then swimming is such an individual sport, and it means a lot to have a good group of people around you, because it's so difficult. It's so mentally difficult and physically difficult. And the only person that can push you in the water is yourself. Your coach can be there, your teammates can be there, but the only person that's going to push you is yourself. And to have teammates that are around you and supportive, and that it helps out so much.
Hey everybody, Darcy Tharp here to unveil the DMVSTREAM.COM Athlete of the Week, which comes from the hardwood, as Stonewall Jackson's Keaton Simmons scored a career-high 46 points, including 7 three-pointers in the 65-62 win over Osborne. If you want to be the DMVSTREAM.COM Athlete of the Week, be sure to tweet us your nomination at DMVSTREAM.
Welcome back to the Prep Zone. Sean Parker, Adam Ayalu, and Tyler Byram. Next up, one of my favorite parts of the show, the AllMetSports.com Weekly Fast Forward. And it's tourney time in the DMV, and we have got a couple of tournaments that we're previewing. The first one, the Virginia 6A and 5A North Tournament. Adam, that one is all yours.
Thank you, and we'll start with 6A, where Westfield is picked as the favorite by many. They were regional champs last year, and they returned a nucleus of a bunch of seniors led by Tyler Scanlon, who's averaging 23.4 points a game, and Blake Francis is also averaging 20 a game. We mentioned earlier Hank Johnson, who's averaging 12.3 points per game, and Corey Jones, who's averaging 8.3 points per game. Joe Ketchmark is the last senior who's returning. He's averaging 5.6 points per game. He's a three-point shooter. The main challengers for Westfield would be Battlefield, West Springfield, and West Potomac right now. West Potomac won the Conference 7 championship behind Khalil Williams-Diggins, who was the MVP. Battlefield won the Conference 8 championship behind Blake Pagan, who's averaging 18.8 points per game. And Braden Galt, the sophomore, actually scored 22 in the championship game. Shonari Street, who's also on the Battlefield team, is a junior who's an emerging forward. And he's averaging just under 12 points per game. He got a nice inside-out skill set. Another competitor would be West Springfield. They won last night over Osborne behind Lewis Junkum, who had 30 points and 10 rebounds. He's averaging over 14 points per game, and his supporting cast is Riley Welch, who's a junior. He's averaging just under 10 points per game. He can shoot the three. Another guy who can shoot the three a little bit is Spencer Askew. He's a class of 2016 guard. And they're also a sophomore, Gabe Kyer. He broke out last night. He scored 16 points. He hit 3 threes and scored 10 points in the third quarter. So he's been really coming on of late. A sleeper team that I don't think many people realize is Robinson. They kind of get overshadowed a little bit because they're in Westfield's conference, but they play them pretty close. They got a guard named Marcos Eyob, who's averaging just under 15 points per game. And the senior, Avi Silberman, is averaging just under 10. And they've got one of the best shooters in the northern region named Luke Ferguson that not many people know. He can get hot in a hurry. I've seen him hit 6 threes in a game this year, and he's averaging just under 10 points per game. So I think if Robinson can get past West Potomac today, then they got a chance, I think, to make a run, because they'll be back at home for the regional quarterfinals and then the semifinals, and then the finals. So if they get past this, then look out for Robinson as one of the teams to watch. And then in the 5A, The main favorite would probably be Potomac. They're 22-2 this year. They've got a host of seniors as well, led by Jeff Gordon. He's averaging, double-figure numbers. Jamal Washington's actually the leading scorer for Keith Honor, and he's averaging, just over 13 points per game. And they've got a solid, deep group of guards. And Nana Opoku is the junior. He's a rim protector. He's averaging, just over 9 points per game. He's really solidified the paint for them and helped them get out and run in transition and things like that. So Potomac is probably be the favorite. Another good team to watch out for is Wakefield. Tony Bentley always, has good teams. And Dang Hall returns as the senior who leads this bunch. He's averaging just under 14 a game. And he's joined by Eric Martin and Xavier Adams, who are the fellow seniors. So you can look out for them. And then Halil Parks is also, he's a transfer, I believe, from W&L, Washington and Lee, and he's averaging 12 points per game. He's third on the team in scoring. He's going to be a big factor for them down the stretch if they want to advance. So I'm
that's
looking
some good
at
balanced scoring that they have. They've got 4 players in double figures.
Yeah, they do have a lot of balance, which is important. I remember the old Florida Gators teams had a lot of good balance when Dilly Donovan was the coach, and ever since then, teams look to try for that balance, and I think Wakefield has good balance. Another team to watch out for would be Albemarle, who's coming from Charlottesville area. They've got a forward named Austin Katstra. He's getting looks from like Ivy League schools right now. He's about 6'5". He's got a really high motor. So Albemarle and Potomac Falls as well. They've got one of the top scorers in the region with Dondre Tillman, who's averaging just over 18 points per game. So Potomac Falls and Albemarle are the teams to watch in the 5A North region.
So, so we've gone over 5A North, 6A North. Besides the favorites, is there one team in each of those divisions that you kind of like? I'm kind of putting you on the spot a little bit.
One team that I didn't really mention earlier would probably be Stonewall Jackson. They upset Lake Raddock last night. James Butler scored 40 in his last game. But Keaton Simmons is one of the best scorers in the state. He's dropped 40 multiple times, and he scored 29 points. He's only about 5'9", but he grabbed 9 rebounds last night in their win. And he's got a good supporting cast. Zach Hinton scored 18 last night. Devin Nordyke's a dead-eye three-point shooter. He scored, I think, 11 last night. So Stonewall Jackson, if they got a tough bracket. I think they play Westfield tonight. So if they can get past Westfield, I mean, anything is possible. But they're a team that's got a lot of talent.
All right, so the 5A and 6A North tournament, that was our preview. We've got the DCSA tournament coming up next for its preview. But first, the guys from Rebel Run stopped by, and they talked about girls playoff basketball in Virginia.
What you say about Oakton? 25-0. They beat McLean 71-58. You're already wearing one of their players' jerseys. What we got?
I might have to wear 2 because Delaney Conley, man, she's good too. They are tremendous. I mean, Alex Marquis, she had 23 points last night. Delaney Conley and Maddie Royal got to take a little bit of a night off. They still had 12 and 11, though not much of a night off, but they are tremendous. They are the best basketball team I've seen all year. Guys, girls, doesn't matter. They're the best basketball team I've seen all year.
Everyone needs to get out and see Oakland.
Absolutely.
Basketball. All right, let's talk about some of the teams that are left in the regional tournament that we want to look out for.
Yeah, let's start. Tuscarora. Tuscarora is a really good team. They're on a roll. They're Chloe Roach. She's putting in about 17 points a game. She's terrific. They got some tough competition coming up, but I think they're going to go a long way. T.C. Williams, man, Trinity Palacio. She is a freshman. She puts in 12 points a game. She was the tournament MVP of the conference.
Right.
She is terrific. And they have Brandy Crenshaw, also gives them 9 points a game. I think they have a tough road, but those 2 players can take them a long way. Herndon, I talked about, they're tough, they're scrappy. Watch out for them. If they get hot, you're going to be in trouble. West Springfield, man, Shelby Haynes has been tremendous for them. She has really put them on her back the last couple of weeks. And Mara Deanna, she is, man, she's got a drop step that she would score on you at any point. Let me just put it that way. She would score on you at any point. She's got a drop step that really gets past people, and it's tough to defend. She abused that front line last night, but they're going to be if they can get Haley Blankenship back, I know she's had some knee issues the last couple of weeks. If they can get her back, they're going to be tough to beat.
Great. Welcome back to the Prep Zone. In the couple of minutes that we have left in the AllMetSports.com weekly fast forward, we are going to go right into the DCSAA tournament. And Tyler, lots of good teams, lots of good action that we're looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely a great tournament. Bracket hasn't been released yet, but if you're looking for top basketball in the region, this is a place to look. I mean, this could rival the WCAC as one of the top tournaments in the region right now, and we're going to have some WCAC teams in it, in St. John's and Gonzaga. St. John's just coming off their huge win. Of course, they have Anthony Cowan Jr. and Jeffrey Downton Jr., both committed to next year to Maryland and Rhode Island, respectfully. But with them, I'm actually looking on the other side to Gonzaga. Gonzaga, they lost to Matha in the semifinals for the WCAC. Gonzaga, they could potentially have been the champions if they got past Matha, because I believe they match up very well with St. John's. But we'll have to see how that plays out. Tonight, the DCIAA Championship's happening. That's between H.D. Woodson and Theodore Roosevelt. Both teams are going to be in this tournament as well. So the game tonight could have big seeding implications for that.
Those are a couple of heavyweights.
Yeah, whoever wins that one, you have to think they're probably going to be the favorite for this tournament as well, up there with St. John's and Gonzaga. They have some key playmakers. Antoine Walker for H.D. Woodson. He's a senior, 16.2 points per game. He's an undecided commit. Someone else I want to look out for, Murray. They have a huge opportunity. They have Luca Garza, a junior, stands at 6'11" in high school. Big body, 25 points per game. He's going to be a wild card for Murray, and they may be able to steal some wins against maybe one of those top teams. So look for them to be maybe the underdog.
If he's 6'11" in high school, he better be scoring 25 points a game. All right, March Madness come early in the DMV. We got the tournament action going on, and we are just about done here on the Prep Zone. Sean Parker, Adam Ayalu, and Tyler Byram. Guys, this was fun. Before we step away, we've got the top 10 rankings. According to the Washington Post, H.D. Woodson, St. John's, DeMatha, National Christian, Westfield, Eleanor Roosevelt, Gwynn Park, Douglas, Hilton, and Loudoun Valley rounding out the top 10. Any of those teams really stand out to you?
We didn't really talk about them much, but Hilton, they're in the 6A South region. They got a really good supporting cast with Jerry Carter, who's committed to Mount Olive, and Tylen Crawford. So Hilton's a good team.
Tyler?
We've talked about them a lot this show, but St. John's, just hats off to them. I mean, it's been a long time since they won the WCAC, and they got it done against the big boys in DeMatha, so good for them, and hopefully they have more wins coming forward in the DCSAA.
All right, playoff action all around. We are done here in the Prep Zone. Thank you all so much for joining us. Take care, and we will see you next time.